A very, very warm good evening. This is Arnav Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, arunfoot. It is April the 24th, 2025. It's a Thursday. And once more, welcome to an Indian football discussion. Another one here under Candid Football Conversations. And look forward to speak to you once again on what all is happening in Indian football. We're just about to witness the final pre-quarter-final match of the Super Cup, of the Kalinga Super Cup, finishing Jamshedpur FC are leading 2-0 against Hyderabad FC. So they'll be the final team to make it to the quarterfinals. Earlier in the day, Northeast United destroyed Mohammedan Sporting 6-0. Whatever was there of Mohammedan Sporting, one has to say, because it wasn't the Mohammedan Sporting first team which turned up. So so therefore that has to be also mentioned. And that's where we are. And as always, also like to say at the start of such a live, do like, share, and subscribe. arunfoot. Sorry. Watch the other videos on the channel. I said, as I always like to say, we're slowly growing. So thank you a lot for that. And do watch the shorter videos that I try and make on a regular basis. Earlier today, little critical one in regard to do Indian football fans don't really want to believe in facts, or do they want to believe in what they want to believe in? Alternate realities or fake news, whatever. Yeah, it's annoying me a little bit for a while, but again, something to talk about. Let me get into the show. And Aditya just says, just attended the live stream of Ashish Negi. My goodness, it's full on corruption and loopholes, especially the committee. If Takashi just appeals for 4 yellow cards, then they'll easily win. The committee mixed the red card and yellow card incident and red card incident, making the case messy and already decide the outcome of the case even without hearing the case of Intakashi. This appeals committee, and they're really corrupt people. And even cancelled the red card even after refs giving it on violent conduct, submitting paper regarding it. And Aditya ends by saying all Intakashi needs to do is go to CAS, forget the red card incident, and just say that the player has received 4 yellow cards and still played. CAS will give the favor on Intakashi. Yeah. Aditya, that sums up what I've been saying now for a while. Well, this is exactly what I said a while back, and this sums up really what I've meant also in this case, very simply speaking, because the player. So the interesting part is what I think what has created the chaos is, or I feel what has created the chaos. Sorry, is that Klitzen getting a red card, a straight red. And what happens to the first yellow card? That's the confusion that has been created. And I feel that confusion has not been taken care of. Right? In my opinion, that confusion has not been taken care of in the sense of that someone said, guys, if he gets a straight red, the first yellow counts. So therefore, this is something that we need to keep in mind, need to remember. And what I feel, again, with all due respect to all these people sitting in committees or judges or justices or whatever, do they understand the law of sports? I'm not talking about civil law or other laws. I'm just talking about the laws of the game. And that is where I think this whole chaos is coming from about, that I think someone needs to just give them the AIFF rule book and say, guys, know this by heart, and then look into the cases. Northeast United franchise as Mohammedan Sporting Club. I think no. Why franchise and why club? Again, some of these so-called franchisees are by now more clubs than what, as per your definition, and therefore makes no sense. Also, a lot of lawyers are feeding false points in Supreme Court. I feel they are trying to manipulate the outcome. Yes, they are. Very. But with some evening, some of the people, I think it's feeding a false narrative, right, to impact. Others just don't know better. And therefore, my question is, who's actually allowed to appear in front of the Supreme Court? So, yeah, that is the real problem. Good evening, Kieran Rare. Welcome back. Also, everyone was owning Nadeem in comment section. Aditya, it's not about owning. If, Nadeem has had always very interesting points to mention, not a problem. But someone defending that gentleman makes no sense. At least not on this channel, where I've clearly said what the problems are and all that kind of stuff. And he does nothing. If anyone is saying that he's doing this for the goodness of his heart, yeah, that's the reality. Also, not to mention a party whose name was not taken has fed a lot of false information in Supreme Court. First saying that FSDL ruined Indian football, also showing a video on how FSDL got rich and how after FSDL took over Indian football got a downfall. Aditya, and that is what I thought 2 days ago as a big problem. As I always say, FSDL Reliance has not done everything right in the last 15 years, right? I think they needed to be more ruthless on a number of fronts. They've been very social also. Mohammedan Sporting should have never been allowed in the ISL. Hyderabad FC should have been thrown out, just to ensure the integrity of the tournament. And again, very controversial what I'm going to say now. Should have East Bengal had been given so much of leeway 5 years ago to get into the ISL, right? So that's the social side of FSDL, where I think they could have been more ruthless. On the other side, the marketing of the product at the start, I was part of it, was world class. But the cost of things were so high in regard to marketing that if money wasn't coming into the system, you cannot sustain that, right? That is a problem that I feel that one has to be honest about, is whatever FSDL did, they couldn't have sustained it, and the clubs wouldn't have sustained it. That's the biggest failure, not turning the television product into something which was making money for themselves and for Indian football. So therefore, yeah. Good evening. This region is heating up sadly. Blue, meanwhile, here today was a day of monsoon, or is still a day of monsoons. I feel, yeah, it's been raining all day, and got wet twice today. Wow. So therefore, welcome to what it is on this part of the world. The other way, silent referee today was blind. Blue. I've had this feeling that some of these sideline referees or the fourth officials sometimes, want to stay out of trouble. Everyone's saying AIFF arranged FIFA friendly against Thailand. Meanwhile, they asked us to play against them. Kieran Rare, again, that was, that's the thing. People are nowadays interpreting the way they want to interpret things, right? So for me, that's, I think, the biggest problem. I think the rules of football and how things are done are not to be interpreted. And you and I are part of a WhatsApp group which contains the key people and coaches and managers in Indian football. Look at when you post something, which I commend you for, and then when I see other people posting useless stuff, and they celebrate each other. So we know that, again, let's blame the AIFF day in, day out. Yes, the rest of the system isn't better. That's our biggest problem. That is our biggest problem. How do you clear out the system? 99% of people most probably don't deserve to be in Indian football. I'll be brutal today, right? And that's to be seen. Even Uzbekistan was near us, whereas they have never came below 100, and we rarely crossed 100 in FIFA ranking. And our best mark 96 came in 2018. Aditya, the reality is we manipulated the rankings to get better draws, right? Were we ever in the last decade, ever, if we're honest, as Indian football fans, a team worth a top 100 ranking? Ever. Right? So that's the first thing. And Uzbekistan, or how good, how bad they are, have always been better than us, seniors and juniors. We might have had the one or the upset at under 17 level, but but Uzbekistan has always been better. So this comparison of India and Uzbekistan holds no ground. Do we has India ever produced a player of the level of Kusanov to be able to play for Man City? And that answers your question. By the way, this is the last match as Hyderabad FC. Blue talks are ongoing. It's nothing finalized. I mean, I could also see might it be the last match of Hyderabad FC if the ISL shuts down? Yeah, most probably it is. Yeah. East Bengal brought the fan base, so yeah, maybe I kind of disagree on that. But Aditya, it's not about fan base. Again, one thing I think everybody needs to understand. In Indian sports, it is about finances and numbers, right? And that is something which needs to be understood. It's not about how many fans you have and how many people come. Because the value of a fan, I've tried to explain this. As long as the fan's value is a zero in regard to commercial numbers, the fan is of no value. So if a club has a fan who's willing to spend with tickets, merchandise, everything, let's take a figure of 5,000 rupees a season on a club. That fan is of value. If someone is willing to spend 10,000, 20,000, then we're talking. A fan who's willing to go for free to watch football matches is of no value. Sorry to say that. Guten Abend, Simon. Any new developments arising in the Kashi case? Actually, I have not been able to keep up with. Simon, nothing. CAS, and let's see what happens at CAS. I was just watching Jamshedpur FC versus Hyderabad FC. I think even if they read the rule book, they still will give pathetic decisions. Clear offside, even a blind will tell was not given offside and was converted into goal. Nilaksh. Yeah, what to say? And Gear and Rare, Aditya, what fan base is got empty stadium during AFC at home? Yeah. Also, the gentleman Supreme Court said how AIFF is selling clubs to FC just for money and how FSL ruined the national camp while nothing has ever happened. Aditya, the guy said FSDL, the lawyer said that FSDL decides the Indian national team. Sorry, my question would be to the Supreme Court of India, to the honorable gentleman. The gentleman is lying to you on your face. That gentleman who's talking to you lied into your face. So then again, I go back to the question, is the Supreme Court in a position to discuss and take a call on the matter? Because they do not know that this is actually factually a lie. It's not even close. Ask Igor Stimac, ask Stephen Constantine, and then we have an answer. So this is the level of shittery. I'm sorry I'm using this word. That is happening in the Supreme Court of India. That people, to construct a narrative, are lying to the highest court of the country, and the highest court of the country is taking no action against these gentlemen. I think these people should be debarred as lawyers, first of all, and for what they're doing to the Supreme Court, should be put in jail. Sorry to say that as clearly as it is. Because this is lying on purpose. Because you're not talking about facts. You are talking fiction about Indian football. That is the real problem of this whole case, or the cases happening in the Supreme Court or in the Delhi High Court, where these judges are being lied to. And I don't understand, why isn't there someone who comes in there and says, sorry, you know what my colleague presented to you is factually not right. Or, as I say, the judges need to be in a position to know that these things are not right. You know what the crazy part is? You all who regularly come to this channel, who discuss these things with me, you are better equipped to understand this than the justices of the Supreme Court of India, who don't seem to follow Indian football. I don't even know if they follow football or sports. So therefore, my demand for a sports court, specifically with judges and lawyers and justices who understand sport to a basic minimum, is a requirement. So that is the problem, in my opinion. Because why did I write the other day after watching a little bit of the hearing that it is better to leave it to governance experts? When the roadmap was developed, I had the pleasure of working with one of the biggest governance experts in the world of football. And that gentleman was willing to help with the constitution, right? But the help was not taken. So therefore, we are where we are, right? Aditya says, brother, I hate East Bengal. What they at least bring a population of 20,000 into stands. The stadiums are big. That's why it looked empty. Aditya, as I said, to me, if I'm running a club and if I'm trying to make money, I'd rather have 5 fans who are putting money into my pocket than 5,000, 10,000 fans who are zero, worth a big zero. Sorry to say that, but that's the reality. That is how clubs around the world see a football fan. I might be breaking a myth, but this is the reality of where we stand. Wait, I want the access to the WhatsApp group too. Aditya, coach or manager? Why does Scooter hate FSTL? Hannibal, I think it's about relevance. People like him, Churchill Brothers, others, the relevance of these people diminished dramatically, since 2014, right, when the ISL came. So, yeah. No fear from AFC this time like the one we had with FIFA allowing us to host the Under-17 World Cup. No. If India was performing, if the AIFF had good relationships, maybe. Simon says, Kieran of OFC, they see us as another Maldives at the end, perhaps wanting to test their goal scoring boots. Thailand have a habit of missing sitters. Oh, wow, that's bad, huh? And now, are you able to see the Super Cup matches abroad? Roshan, some, yes, not all. Tom already is confirmed to be, as per my sources, as the replacement of Jovanovic. Okay. Given I've heard that Tom Alderweireld is in talks with a couple of other ISL clubs, or was at least. So therefore, let's wait. People are saying, convincing Imo Francis Dream. RB FC fans. Hannibal, maybe, or do you mean East Bengal fans? Yeah, that's something that I've also heard. People have been speaking about it. I don't know if it's true or not. As I said, I've heard something about this, but I don't know if it's true. Right, 20 minutes of this live. Those of you watching, if you haven't, leave a like behind. 8 likes only so far. Share it with other people as well. To join us, those of you who might be new to the channel, do subscribe to the channel as well. We crossed the 2,500 mark a few days ago, and share it with other people. I'm seeing that a lot of you who watch are actually not subscribed, so do subscribe. And of course, watch the videos. I was a little critical today in regard to Indian football fans, and they don't want to believe in facts. Again, yesterday's discussion, I think, is a very good example of that. And do support the channel, and thanks a lot for doing that. If ISL doesn't happen next season, then all of our favorite Indian clubs will not be seen playing. Yeah, I think they're very likely. Absolute joke comparing Uzbekistan with India is almost like comparing Germany with Timor-Leste here. Yeah, Simon, that's the problem. At this stage, RB is an agent of chaos. Yeah, it's trying to stay relevant. Is it a big risk to hand over the entire constitutional structuring process over to Supreme Court? Seems like so. Simon, I think it shouldn't be their job in the first place. It is the job of the AIFF to sort out as I said, it should be governance people. Ideally, the AIFF would have employed governance people to create it and then to build on it, right? And is my concern, that we are not building on what is needed. We are stuck where we're stuck at this moment in time, and my concern is that FIFA is not where it should be. Family better to keep away our topics from Ranjit Bajaj, because it's a matter not for players, not for fans. He lives in a delusional world. So just leave him. Thanks. Kiran, I would like that as well. Imagine saying AIFF still decides the Indian national football team is just too much to even speak at this point. Yeah, but that's been said in the Supreme Court of India. Someone has said it to the judges. What is the result of Jamshedpur FC Hyderabad? Jamshedpur FC won 2-0 against Hyderabad today. Scoot just doing crying because he's not been able to earn that much money and can't take credit for every player. Yeah. Also, the government of India was about to give its opinion today too, but since they want to actually conduct Asian Games Olympics, so they kept themselves away from this topic. I don't think so. Today was no hearing. Blue says, don't think leaving Bajaj will help. He used others being silent all these years. Everyone should just question him at this point. Blue, you're raising a very, very valid point. Very, very valid point, in my opinion. Because I think that is one of the biggest problems at this moment, at this stage, that he's been allowed to do his stuff, and nobody questioned him. Did Simon just say that they want us to flatten like Leicester? Brother, please, we have a record of defeat in the forward. No, he didn't. He said something else. Watch the game live, but time flies quickly. I think we can beat this version of time. He's hoping for respect the score. Not even following basic procedures to do business and administration for FIFA is going to destroy the rate us. I hope not. Let's wait and see what happens. Hi Akash, good to see you back. I can see the Bengal identity is long gone with each generation, and with the poor performance of East Bengal year after year. Next gen Bangals are supporting Mohammedan in more and more numbers. I think you have addressed a very, very key point, Akash, that what is the Bengal identity? The identity of people who have their roots in what is now Bangladesh, right? That's the reason why a club like East Bengal was formed. And, there are now the third, fourth, fifth generation of people who have actually been living in West Bengal. So what's the connect to the erstwhile, East Bengal? Unlike if I look at, for example, in Glasgow, people who've been Celtic and Rangers, because there's, of course, a different connotation to it as well. So let's see. So, yeah. Do you get the logic behind Mohammedan Super Giant leaving Tom? I thought he's literally top 3 best centre back, while Alberto is in ISL this season. Blue, I don't. Honestly, if you ask me, my opinion, if Mohammedan should have kept Tom Aldred besides Alberto Rodriguez, I would have kept him, because forget if these two are top three as defenders, but as a pairing, they're the best in this league by a mile. And therefore, for me, that's the challenge. I think to find a different combo in the ISL as a centre back pairing, which can be as good. Why risk that by releasing Tom and bringing someone with a bigger name? Yeah, that's the challenge. Tom already leaving so early. Pranjal could be happening. Again, he's been linked with BFC. There's also been links with Mumbai City and with another club. Exactly today was no hearing because the government of India gave indirect messages that they don't want to speak on this matter for the sake of Olympics. Aditya, again, they have to, because forget the AIFF constitution, they also have the IOA constitution. And as long as the IOA constitution is not sorted, India's so-called bid, and the funny one is they're saying that India's already bid for the Olympics. So the ignorance level, of these people as a whole lot. India has shown an interest. India has not placed a formal bid with the IOC. And as long as the IOA matter is not solved, there is no official bid. And welcome to the world of Indian football. How did Professor Patel deal with people like Bataj? Anibal, ignore them. But the mistake was, again, I think even with Profil and with Kushal and those guys, they should have taken care of it. Either Rovi was quite good today. I don't have access to last stream, but I saw the highlights. See, Akash, yeah. And therefore, very dangerous. If you look at highlights and then there's someone is good or someone is bad, always watch a 90-minute match. Ideally, watch it in the stadium, because then you also see the off-the-ball movements, which I find are very, very important in today's football game. That was actually good. He can also be a good starter in any ISL club. Let's see. I think such formation, AIFF have done nothing for Indian football. It's same like Britishers gave power to Congress during independence. IIFF have done the same with the AIFF, but nothing happened since that. Even my father speaks about this. Here and rare, we can criticize the AIFF all day long. We can talk about this, that, everything, whatever. But to say that the AIFF has done nothing, because at the moment it's chaos, in my opinion, is wrong. I think a lot of things the AIFF has done over the years need to be counted, need to be mentioned. And and that is something which one needs to keep in mind. So therefore, I don't think that works. I think they're trying to update that position besides the salary cap and issue 2, says Aditya to Blue. There is no salary cap. Where is the salary cap? I know. I think government is busy. There's no time from after Hindus is now terrorist attack like Hamastan Hindus. I think their focus is not on sports now. Kumar, their focus wasn't on it before. The focus is not now. If you want to find a reason that they don't have a focus, give them a reason for no focus, right? Mohammedan Supergiant created a new fan base. That's true. Even in North, they gain no number of fans. I think success gets you fans, right? That is, I think, the case around the world. If you're successful to a certain extent, you are going to generate a certain level of fan base. Maybe people who might not have been your fans. And therefore, for me, that is something which is very, very natural in a way. And Mohammedan's continued success, actually, over the last few years, has given them something. I appreciate that you do such daily lives and answer directly without prior preparation and filter. Thanks. Roshan, thanks. I try. I am as honest as I can. And as I say, there might be something that I might be wrong, but I try and get the points across as I see them, right? And that is what I always say, and therefore, thanks a lot. And therefore I say, let's grow the community of people who are willing to believe the facts, the truths on Indian football, and not really live in, la la land or be disillusional. Things are tough, things are hard. but one has to recognize that there's still possibilities. If Diamond Harbour FC somehow came to play at ISL, that will be game over for East Bengal. That's an interesting point, Akash, because, success brings you fans. Success allows you to gain fans, especially in an Indian sporting context. And if I see the west of Kolkata per se, not only the Diamond Harbour side, but the Joka, the Behala side, maybe, let's say, there is maybe a new fan base to develop over there. Yeah, of course, people will say political connection, this and that and everything, but that political connect, so that's something which is there. I think Indian football will stay this way, and if we want to come in this field, then we need to also abuse the power of in our favor too, sadly. Yeah, maybe. Aditya, sounds harsh, but maybe it is. Have to appreciate Tutu Bose. Unlike Mr. Nitu, he understood the importance of corporate management, money over personal power on the club. Fans just want to enjoy success, no success, game over. Akash, yeah, but maybe there was a little bit of a nudge or a pressure as well, right? So that has to be also kept in mind. Great Kashmir also gain fan base when they doing well. Okay. Here and there. I think Kashmir needs to come to us, and maybe the government might sponsor them for promoting sports in the region. Maybe we can see ISF getting played in Aditya, I don't think Srinagar at the moment is ready. To host ISL. So therefore, people might think about it. To me, even if Punjab is struggling again, and then we're talking about finances, we're not talking about small money. That's why, yeah, that's a reality. Another, how can fan get attached for decades if they don't have success, which are mid-table or low the club or second division? Kumar, if you look around the world, right? And I don't have to bring a German example or an English example. And this is the problem of Indian football fans, right? If the second we are successful, people are there to support. But I say, for example, FC Remscheid, my hometown team, when I first started watching them, they were playing second Bundesliga. They were a professional team at that time. Now they're down in the sixth. I still support them. I still watch them. Even another team from Remscheid which plays in the sixth year, I watch SS4 Gagsport. Right? So this is what needs to change in the culture of fandom in India. That you support your team in success, but especially in failure. Not only clubs, but even the national team. If I would be a success fan, right, I would have never supported the Indian national team. I've got Germany as my other team. So this logic is so, boom, in my opinion, that needs to be changed. And that is where, for example, I say East Bengal with all the capabilities, Mohammedan Sporting with all the capabilities. Take Mohun Bagan out of this equation because they've been doing very well. But these clubs should be filling their stadiums wherever they are, wherever they're going in the world, every day of the week. I always hear, this is happening on a weekday. Oh, it is too late. Oh, this. Oh, that. Listen, real football fans of clubs or national teams sort their life out according to the match timings of their clubs. Right? So the reality is the connection isn't there. That is Indian sports' biggest problem. It is, for a lot of fans, it is pseudo connect. It is not a real connect. Mohammedan Sporting struggles continues. Don't think so. With this kind of performance, they even do well in I-League. Given rare at the moment, this is not even an I-League team that they fielded today, right? And they need to sort out their finances quickly. Otherwise, yeah. At the moment, Mohammedan Sporting is not an ISL team. Let's be very clear about that, right? Local tournaments in Diamond Harbour area get huge attendance. Good to know. It should. Hi, good evening, good afternoon to you. And these are the interesting facts, right? That these clubs are of a certain size. What can happen? Diamond Harbour has to play at Diamond Harbour. It's close to Kolkata, so they can simply up and down during the match days. Abhishek and his brother really manage the club well. Yeah. Even City has 115 charges. Diamond Harbour is just a small example of it in football. No one cares about it. Aditya, who says that? You mention things just again. These are different things. City and Diamond Harbour took. What are you comparing? If you compared, let's say, an Arkadag, right? That would be a proper comparison, because that is, run by the most important family in Turkmenistan. That's a comparison, not this. Man City, yeah. To be honest, I've never saw fan base like Nepal in India. Here and there, very well said. In terms of SAF football, Nepal is one of the best in terms of fans, yes. If not the best, right? Think about last time Nepal played against India in the SAF Women's Championship semi-final, where that chaos, referee, goal, no goal, yes, no, whatever. So a full stadium, a loud crowd, right? I think we need to be critical with our fan base in India. I think that needs to be discussed, right? We have more discussions on social media than actually people turning up at grounds, I have a feeling. How many of the people who are talking about football online are physically, regularly going to watch? I'm taking out those people who are abroad. But if I can, I go to matches, right? My favorite example was in 2022, when I went to an I-League match of Mohammedan Sporting while in Kolkata, while Germany was playing Japan. So I was watching Germany-Japan on the phone, and I was watching Mohammedan Sporting live at the Kishore Bharati. I've got very high standards, right, guys? And to meet those standards is not easy. Strong political connections for a club, especially for a state like Bengal. Yeah. I'm following Bangalore FC since their formation. And that's positive. That's good. It needs people like you. But how many people were coming for BFC matches in the last 2 years when BFC was not winning? BFC's never reached a 30,000 mark at the Kantirava, which India got against the UAE in the match that they won in 2001. So I can give you benchmarks, and every club in India will fail that, right? Is grassroots and rest of the world done in decentralized way? Only one or twice meeting after, yeah, rest of the day people do the groundwork without media or anything. Yeah, decentralized is the thing. It's not going to be decided at football hours. The football house gives you the framework, right? Formation is not just about success, it's also about how you understand a foundation as a fan. Since I'm from North, so according to logic, I must be have zero interest in South football. Or Guillaume, I would even take it to another level. You should not even have any interest in football, right? So that's the problem. The blood of Indians is drowned in glory hunting culture. Perfect example, Mumbai City FC, the tennis ISL just came out. They have a decrease of 24% in attendance even after winning so much. Yeah. Aditya, it's across the board. If Mohammedan next season is 4th or 5th in the table, do you think Mohammedan will have those kind of attendances? It's anybody. It doesn't matter. FC Goa has had a lot of success this season. Has FC Goa really been able to up its attendances? No, right? So that's the challenge that we see in the ISL, and very difficult, very, very difficult to overcome. Supporting a club because of emotional connection is different than going at the stadium, cheering them, watching them regularly. Millions of people support East Bengal with only 15K go at the stadium. Akash, where are those millions? And I asked this question not only about East Bengal, but about Mohammedan and Mohammedan Sporting as well. Those, in Bengali you say, right, crores of fans. Are they really there? I don't think so. And if you're a people's club, which these clubs are, or supposedly are, and I say supposedly, and and that's why I say, you should be filling the Salt Lake Stadium with 66,000 people week in, week out. You've not done that, right? And then people say, oh, you know what, ticketing this and that and everything. No. Under 17 World Cup, 3 matches I went to. Germany, Brazil, Brazil, Spain, Spain, England. All of them were sold out with 66 plus thousand, nearly 67,000. So, and this stadium used to have more than a crore, more than a lakh, more than 100,000 people coming to Derby. Nowadays, you don't even get 40,000. So what are we talking about numbers, right? I was at the stadium when East Bengal men's won the National League 20 years ago. Will support East Bengal till my last day. My 8-year-old son supports East Bengal too. Non-negotiable. Same for Mono supporters as well. Uchut, yes, but I think you are not the normal football fan of today. You are a hardcore, genuine football fan, knowing you a little, of East Bengal FC, right? So therefore, passing it on to the next generation is a topic. And then you would go. Others, I don't think so. And now this is not my case. I tell to most people in India, worship success and even lives in failure to dungeons in football, academic, and life. Yeah, very, very right. My favorite example, again, an old example, 2004, 8th of September, Salt Lake Stadium, India versus Japan, 90,000 people in the stadium. 5,000 plus minus Japanese fans. And there were no special ticket sales. Somehow or the other they turned up. Again, there was a block by the Japanese Football Association, but otherwise not. Great support. And they won 4-0. But I saw them nearly 2 years later at the 2006 FIFA World Cup in Dortmund against Brazil. They lost 4-1. The support was the same. So that is where, if we want to get to fan culture, that is the discussion we need to have. These conversations on social media and all are nice, but I need commitment of supporting, especially when the team loses, right? That doesn't happen. And that is my concern. There are people, I'm being very generic at this moment, but this does not happen. And that is part of the problem. I was at the stadium when Odisha FC won against Mohammedan, was there when they won Super Cup in Kerala, no matter if the team leaves or not, but I supported Tirada. That's great, Aditya. That's what I hear. I saw someone internet, some Gulf corporations are in talks with Mohammedan Sporting. Akash, how many times have we heard this? And you said somewhere on internet you read. Therefore, I'm very, very careful. Again, and that is also, is it really true or is it being spread by people? If it doesn't become concrete, it becomes very different. And again, anyone, just think yourself, if you had money, just think, you're a crorepati, you love football. Would you invest it into these kind of teams, into a franchise or a club or whatever you want to call it? Or rather, let's say, do a grassroots project, right? A few days back, I was in Gorkha Military College in Dehradun, and local Nepali fan was just awesome. It was around 3K people, and we're turning around in local tournament. Yeah, crazy, yeah? There isn't really a fan base for football, really, apart from the legacy clubs. Even their ticket price is really low. Tomo, I think there is football as a fan base outside of the legacy clubs. Because if you're talking about legacy clubs, you're talking about the Calcutta clubs. Because the Goan clubs don't have a fan base. Other teams from across India don't have a fan base. Do the clubs in Delhi have a fan base? Do the clubs in Mumbai have a fan base? Do the clubs in Bangalore have a fan base? Do the clubs in Chennai, Kerala, right, have a fan base? The Mizo clubs have, and most of them are very young clubs. Some of the Manipuri clubs have. The Shillong clubs have, but we don't speak about it. So that's the thing. One thing I've noticed in the hill areas, football is always popular than plains. In Nepal, in plains, cricket is dominant. In Bangladesh, also in hills, football dominates like our northeast. Very interesting. Yeah, that's very true. You know, um, and yeah. Aditya says, and I found something. There's a derby in Tehran known as Tehran Derby between two teams and have attendance in lakhs, but people in India still believe Bengal Derby is the biggest in Asia. Yeah, you're talking about Persepolis versus Esteghlal. Two teams also play regularly in the AFC Champions League. Or let's talk about Tractor SC, right, who recently hosted a game and had 120,000 people in their stadium, right? Was supposed to play Mohammedan last year. So, again, it's good that we have the Kolkata Derby. It's good that we have football in Kolkata. But in Kolkata, we glorify a lot of things, which, as you correctly pointed out with the Tehran Derby, is of a different level. It's much bigger, much grander. And I've heard even players, coaches who've worked in Southeast Asia who have said, I would never say it publicly, but you know what? Football in that part of the world uh, uh, um, in Southeast Asia actually is much more than in India. Would we talk about it? Would we talk about Malaysia? Would we talk about Indonesia? Would we talk about Thailand? No, we wouldn't. Right. So that's the reality, that Kolkata football still lives its own little world, and that's it. Was there a lot of Northeast players earlier in the Indian circuit, or it's just now we see a lot of them in the teams? General, the Northeast players first cropped up in the late 80s, early 90s. Gunabir Singh, Manipur. Renedy and the lot were the second generation. Late 90s, we had Malsong Tulunga as the first Mizo, right? We've had players, Rokas Lamare, I remember Ma Lanki Suting from Meghalaya. The odd one out, like a Gumpe Rime, William Koso, who recently died in a car accident, sadly. Nagaland. So this has been a trend, the last 2.5, 3 decades, and it's grown more and more. Originally, it was Manipuris, and then the Mizos joined in. Now we've got some players from other states of the Northeast. Of course, not to forget, Paichung Bhutia from Sikkim. We've had players from Sikkim, Sanju Pradhan, Nirmal Chetri, Bikash Jairu. So the Northeast has been around, and the numbers are big. Hi, ACT. Maybe the most frustrating part about my life is having to get along an infinite long journey with Indian football. Has been one hell of a roller coaster ride so far. Simon, it will be a roller coaster ride. I don't see us sorting Indian football out in the short term, in the midterm, in a way that, that the ride will be easy. But again, I always say to people, be part of the journey. Let's enjoy this, and let's see where we can get Indian football. Do you think Bangalore FC underestimated Inter Kashi, or was it brilliance by Inter Kashi? I don't know if it was brilliant. Brilliance is too big a word. Inter Kashi had a game plan. It worked for them. But also, one has to be honest, BFC took the lead, and Inter Kashi scored a late equalizer. Matej Babovic with a brilliant goal. But Inter Kashi had a plan. And to me, Inter Kashi, if you look at the squad, to me, it's not an I-League squad, right? If I said that yesterday, if you look at the team that was playing, and we don't even have Orindam in goal, that's more than capable ISL team, actually. So therefore, that has to be kept in mind when you see Inter Kashi play. It is just the reality of things that we always look at the squad, but what we forget in Indian circumstances, forget those circumstances, right? A 4:30 kickoff is an advantage to Inter Kashi against any ISL team, because they're used to 2 or 4:30 p.m. kickoffs. And they're used to those struggles, because I'm hearing from a lot of ISL teams that they're not happy with, what's happening in Bhubaneswar, because they're used to a different standard in the ISL. This is an AIFF tournament. So therefore, those are small little things which then add up, where you suddenly realize, you know what, the difference which is there, the gulf which is there. You saw the FC Goa versus Gokulam was clearly evident. And Gokulam is a top team in the I-League. And that is something which is a reality. At that India versus Japan match, I was sitting with the Japan fans, wonderful behavior. Even the Indian fans were mindful of not causing an inconvenience, and the floodlights went out for some time. Uchut, maybe it was a different time. I remember there was a lot of praise from both sides about the behavior. Yes, the floodlights went off. I remember that. Yeah, I had to rush down in the dark. Yeah. If Arabs come to Mohammedan Sporting, then they'll clean the legacy stuff, whatever the guys want or not. It can also be bloody, but one Sporting will become powers. Aditya, there is no Arab coming to them. If it is so-called someone from the Middle East, it will be some Indian connection, Indian link. By the way, are there no people in Goa? Where are the people then? I see foreigners outraged when Dempo or Churchill loses. Aditya, that's what I've been saying, right? The so-called legacy clubs in Goa don't have support. That's the whole point that I wanted to make, right? As harsh as it is, but that's the reality of the clubs in Goa, right? And of course, yes, Churchill towards the end now pulled fans and this and that and everything, but that's harsh. Sharing a funny story, once I was playing in Mussoorie in Jackie tournament as goalkeeper, there was too much fog in hills, and for my performance, my goalie gave me 200 rupees. Nice, very nice. Ochut said maybe the cricket balls are lost in the hills more than they do in the plains, as an answer to Akash. Achut, nice one. Simon says, I'm 27, relatively new to football, let alone Indian football, having just started following since the 2010s. I would greatly thank my grandfather, 90 plus, but still going strong for growing. That's good, you know. A football fan in me. Yeah. That's the thing. That's the reality, right? That's great because it has to be passed on to the generation. I think in Kerala also people hype up Malappuram sevens a lot. I know the culture in Malappuram is great, but they aren't even anywhere near to Asian leagues. The best talent from India come from Trishur. Then sevens, I think the only player, again, surely there will have been other players. The only player I remember who came through the sevens system was NP Pradeep, right? NP Pradeep was a sevens player, yeah. So therefore, for me, sevens is a different ball game. Sevens for us could be an advantage for if you'd utilize it for futsal or for beach soccer, if you could link it in some sort of formula. More man to sign an Argentinian defender. Zoravar, until the signing is done, when people bothering me about Jackson Irvine for the last month, right? As if Jackson Irvine is going to turn up, leave St. Pauli and come to India, right? So let's wait and see who they sign in the end. Maybe someone has a list and follows up and says, these players have been linked to this club or that club, and then we see who gets signed. This is going to be an interesting one. Sorry, don't have Arindam in goal. It's an ISL. No, Aditya, I didn't say that. They, without playing Arindam, even keeping him out, that was an ISL team. And if you put Arindam on, it's even more an ISL team. The worst people can do is blame Odisha FC for Super Cup. We sponsored it when people thought there would be no Super Cup. Aditya, there were other takers. Let's not say there were no other takers. There were other takers, but the AIFF would have to spend money, and that's why they didn't do it. So therefore, that's the reality. And but again, people are not happy. Let's be very clear. So that's also a reality. SAF equal to AIFF, both are same situation? No, Yashraj. I think SAF has to be. You have to be honest with SAF again. Looking at the political climate at this moment, it is first of all good that we're not playing this home and away format, the Nations League, which sounds very, very nice. But India Pakistan is a hot cake, is a problem, and therefore, yeah, it's not happening, right? Bangladesh Full Federation looking new coach. Okay, again, I think Bangladesh now, maybe Bangladesh is looking at Indonesia. I might be dreaming big, right? So let's see what happens. Churchill Brothers pulled the highest, only 1,200. The average of this UFC game get 10,000 as a match of in Super Cup matches. Where do you get those stats from? They got more for that Inter-Kashi game. There were more for Churchill Brothers. It's only FC Goa that has fetched crowds at the Fatwa. I read some fan interviews to say they can finally identify with the pan Goa club and culture. Yeah, Uchut, I think that is something which Mr. Dempo, with the Sargauka brothers, with Churchill Alamao, with Peter Vas, the Sporting Club, the Goa, with Noel Dalima Letao, the late Noel, did not want to, that they did not want to make it a Goan club, right? And that is something which I feel has caused a lot of problems, right? And therefore, that's the reality, and to me, that's a challenge. And they've not been able to build that connect with Goa, right? I have been to matches in the I League or NFL in the past, where I think there were less than 100 people. And it was, for Indian standards, good quality football. I think currently Northeast region's fans are quite great, but due to political tensions, government tensions in recent years, whole Northeast football and fans get affected a lot. That's something not to forget. Yeah. Why don't the Goa government support FC Goa club rather Dempo and Churchill was like they have to pay lakhs just to play in Fatolga? Aditya, that's the point, because they see that FC Goa now no longer being run by Mr. Dempo and by Dr. Raj Sargaonkar, now with Mr. Modi running it, Jaideep Modi, perceived to be an outsider. So therefore, that's the reality. When Manoj Parker was Goa CM, they hosted BRICS football as India played against Brazil team as well and gave a decent performance. Given these things were nice, but that BRICS tournament, what's the value at the end of the day, right? Did we, it would be interesting to see that Brazilian squad and compare if anyone's made it big, but our players. Defender's name is Kevin Sibyl. Yeah, Zoravar, I've heard him, but wasn't yesterday Brian Kaltak supposedly sorted as a replacement for Tom Andrews? That's what I'm saying. It's until the club announces something, I think there will be a lot of names connected to XYZ club, and so let's wait and see who becomes the option, so to say, of the day to sign or not to sign, and then we'll realize who's going to be there and not there, right? So therefore, that's going to be the interesting part. No, the actual was less than 1,000. Churchill Brothers falsified the numbers of 1,200. I saw the Insta post and checked the papers for the headache. Must have a habit of lying. Aditya, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they have had against Inter-Kashi, the Raya ground was full, right? So that is more than 1,200 people. 5, 6, maybe even 7,000, but exception. But then that actual numbers most probably are going to be lower. That's my point. What do you think is the reason Northeast United FC fan attendance dropped by such a huge amount once they had an average attendance of 30,000 plus despite recent success? So Robert, they never had 30,000 plus because that stadium is a 30,000 capacity. So the stadium was not full for every game. But I think FC Goa was about to say no. Northeast United initially had a very good connect with the fans, and as with what we've been talking about, even in the Northeast, you will have to have certain level of success for the fans to come back on a regular basis and support you. Northeast United is in the same bracket as anybody else in this league. That's the problem. If you don't have success, people will not turn up. That's the sad reality. So that's the problem. So therefore, that needs to be kept in mind. And the failures of Northeast, the disconnect also before Mandar came in, was also an issue. I think Mandar Tamane has taken a lot of steps to rectify, to strengthen Northeast United. And Yeah. Um, yeah. That's it. Let's see how they can grow. And with getting into the playoffs, I think the Shillong thing has not worked. I don't know what you guys think, but to me, Northeast United going to Shillong has actually backfired on them. I think they could have been even higher in the table because they lost 3 of their 4 matches over there. So that's, yeah, like Rajasthan United about attendance. I don't even know what the attendance is. Is there any attendance to speak about? Why does this make rumors like this? Why should a Bundesliga player like come to India to play in ISL? Renel, that is the problem of the business. Again, I'm never surprised about something to happen for crazy reasons. Yeah, because let's be honest, I signed for Mumbai City a Bundesliga player. I actually signed someone from Borussia Dortmund, Manuel Friedrich, in 2014. And I always say, you know what? Half a year earlier, before playing in the ISL, Manu was playing Champions League, and he was the best defender in 2014 in that one against Real Madrid, and controlled Cristiano Ronaldo. So that is possible. But these days, of course, we're talking about much less money. So again, Jackson Irvine, to me, leaving St. Pauli. First of all, leaving St. Pauli for me sounds difficult because I've seen interviews of his where he clearly said, he loves the club, he loves the city of Hamburg, he loves the flair over there. The perfect is a perfect fit for him. And he's brought the club up from fighting relegation in the second tier to being now in the Bundesliga, and they're going to be there. And he's their captain. Why would he leave that club to come to India? With all due respect, I mean, Mohammedan would have to pay him, I don't know, 3 times the money that they're putting on Jim McLaren. I think they're not going to pay that, right? So therefore, these are all realities. So therefore, for me, it looked very unlikely. But I also say crazy things have happened. So therefore, I'm very, very careful of saying definitely it will not happen because, yeah, there might be some crazy reasons for that. Right, already over an hour. Wow, that was fast today. Didn't realize it. If you haven't, do leave a like behind. As I like to say, share it with others to join in for us. 17 likes so far. Thank you very much. And those of you who are watching, who are listening, who like the content but haven't subscribed, do subscribe and do watch the other content. As I said, did something a little more critical today. Why Indian football fans was the question in regard to why fans don't believe in the facts. Watch that. Watch the other videos. Putting in a little bit of an effort. Sadly, yeah, not getting the traction as I see at the moment. So do watch it. Do support it. Thanks a lot, and let's keep on growing. An outsider running FC Goa is problem for them. Brother, half of your state is filled with foreigners and along with hippies. But then I even think about Aditya, that's a different thing. And the business part, it's Goans, right? The Goans, and this is something which is very, very, small-minded that we see across India. And so, yeah, but that's the reality. Yeah, so that's where we are, and it's going to be a big problem getting it out of the Goan psyche, right? And that's something which is yeah. So therefore, yeah, I don't know. Let's see what happens. 1 second, where am I? Oops, sorry. How good is this Kevin Sable? Do you think it will be a good signing and good replacement for Tom Alders rumors of him joining PFC? So rather, I said early on, I don't understand why would you get rid of Tom Aldred. That to me doesn't make sense. Tom Aldred has been the best or one of the best defenders in this league. Solid pairing with Alberto Rodriguez, 34. Yeah, of course, he's on the older side, but he's not that old. So therefore, I don't know. And Kevin Sybil, yeah, CV looks good, but let's see if he can be that difference player. Heard Greg Stewart will join Chinese Super League club. Don't know if it's true. Yeah, given rare, possible. Just one thing. I just have to get up and put on the lights. Possible, I think. To me, Greg still has it in him to play. I don't know if he, has it in him to spend a whole year in China. Not sure, if I'm honest. But yeah, Greg Stewart, if fit, is a quality player, period. Right? So that's the point. Do half of the ISL teams have a proper scouting system? It seems to me that one team starts signing foreigners from the A-League, Moroccan League, the others follow suit too. Simon, I don't think they have. Most of the clubs have a technical department. And a scouting team to have on foreigners for an Indian club is very, very difficult. So you depend on agents. They will produce your CVs. Or sometimes the coach will know a player, and then they will bring him in, but difficult. I sincerely hope that some sort of negotiation happens. We have an ISL next season. If that doesn't happen, there will be a lot of challenges regarding the overall pyramid. Which is very, very right, and I've been, as you know very well, those who are regulars, I have warned a lot about something like this and what could happen. For me, I don't know if we're gonna sort it out. It is dangerous, I would say. Now the Urban makes statements. 11 club and city doesn't have anything to say anything nowadays if it stays. I know, Roshan, what you mean. But on the other side, looking at Jackson Irvine, what he said now a few times, if he says it, I do believe him. If other players do it, tons of them have done it. But with him, I would say it. Sergey, what you talk about on Pahalgam Kashmir terrorist attack, the whole Bharat in anger, did you condemn? Yes, Hyper Master 823, I did, but I want to stick to football, because if we want to go into that field, it's a very, very slippery slope. So therefore, let's try and stick to football. Again, politics and these kind of things are very, very tricky these days, not only in an Indian-Pakistan context, but look at the whole situation with Israel and Palestine, look at Ukraine, Russia, and again, we're not even talking about things that are happening in Africa these days. If Bangalore FC pays transfer fees, as rumors are that they are desperate to get him, also to other AIFF clubs and the contenders. Yes, Rawal, Mumbai City is one of them, supposedly. Wouldn't mind, actually, a Tiri, Tom Aldred backline at Mumbai City. That would be one. So let's wait and see what they do. Greg Stewart would be great. Big loss to Bagan. I guess, how can they let their best playmaker go? Methamphetamine, he was an asset this season, but Greg is getting older, injury problems, and so therefore, let's see who comes in his place. Does it maybe hate increasing in sports and also film industry? Hypermaster 823, yes, it's a cricket problem, it's a Bollywood problem, but I don't see it becoming a football problem, to be very, very honest, because India-Pakistan links, again, could have been in the SAF Cup in the summer, but the SAF Cup has been postponed. So therefore, let's see. ISL and Chinese Super League had a history of transfers. For example, Obera from Mumbai City going to Sichuan, and another city football group club, yes, Jorge Ortiz, leaving Goa to go to China, now come to Mumbai City. Earlier as well. And now I read today Thierry talks with RB Leipzig as head coach. Question, I've heard Thierry, I think Cesc Fabregas has been linked with the job, I think, as well. Roger Schmidt, XYZ. So let's see. Jurgen Klopp is on the search. Jurgen Klopp is looking for the new coach. And I guess Jurgen Klopp will most probably be able to find a suitable candidate for RB Leipzig. Go is such a paradise, but suddenly no one is going there. Maybe the locals too are a problem there for the government supporting to tax mafia and the high control prices. Aditya, yeah, it is, and again, football just reflects the you know. Why don't Indian clubs assign scouting teams? Maybe reason why they struggle to form a band squad. I need to have scouts to have scouting teams, right? And an Indian club to go around the world and scout players with the budgets they have doesn't work. You have to live again, and most of these clubs live either of data from Transfermarkt or from Wise Scout is a platform which you can scout on, and so not happening. Is there any update on the HFC transfers? Aditya, I've not heard anything. I think the first question is, you will not like to hear it. Do they stay? And second question is, does Lobera stay? And then I think there's everything else. So thoughts on Shaji work in ASIP? Do you think it will help sports overall? Simple answer, no. In my opinion, they should have let go of Petratos in place of Stewart. Stewart had more contribution than Petratos last season. Yeah, but I think Petratos might be also on his way out, right? Greg had a very lukewarm season. Like, he scored goals, but not how much that expected from him. He's had his prime in Jamshedpur. So, I think his prime was at Mumbai City, winning over there as well. I think, and he's had very good seasons over there. I don't think it was a lukewarm season. It was not lukewarm. It's okay. Let's see. So I see film industry, movies makes on Indian football like cricket. Only a few movies in Indian football. Yeah, but hyper master cricket is what sells in India, and therefore people rather make a movie on cricket than on football. Sad reality, right? Of the realities of a country like India, where cricket is a much more followed sport than football, right? So therefore, that's how it is. What a player Edu Garcia has become after his underwhelming stint. I thought maybe 8 was finally taking over, but he's come right back up in the CSL. Glad he's still going strong. Yeah, very good player. It's good just looking at football clubs. You can guess the geopolitics in both the state or the country. Cricket can never achieve that. Yeah. What did you make of Jamshedpur's gameplay today? Felt like they're now a well-oiled machine. Madam, I didn't watch the match, to be very honest with you. So therefore, I cannot tell you anything about gameplay other thing. I was just following the result on the go. I was actually in a meeting, so therefore couldn't watch it. Maidan is based on Indian football. Yes, Sunavar, Maidan is based on Indian football. And then John Abraham had done a film called Goal many, many years back. So there have been some football movies, but rightly not that many. Actually, India's not made many sports movies in general. I mean, even if we say, Alba Master saying that, they've made more cricket movies, yes, but generally India has not been that much of a sports movie country in a way. Chak De would be most probably coming up as well as a sports topic, but generally not that much. How come people find cricket exciting? The real reason I found cricket exciting is I never saw football from my eyes. They had to make flat pitches and iPad just to make it interesting. Aditya, I don't even understand what kind of pitches, and it's I don't know. It just clicked. Cricket clicked on a number of fronts. I think 1983, India winning the World Cup was key. And then, of course, also 1987, the Reliance-sponsored World Cup in South Asia. I mean, just unthinkable today that you had it in multiple countries, and yeah, and then of course the IPL, right? And that is cricket is where it is, and therefore the comparison with football is unfair. I come from Devas near Indore, Ujjain, or Malwa region. They have no multi-purpose athletic football stadium like have in Bhopal, TT Nagar, Tatiya Tope Stadium, but not in Malwa region. Okay, it's not good. Um, you know, Hypermaster 823, but I hope that also Madhya Pradesh football grows. Many Kashmiri people across the country are getting hate. Many Kashmiri students are thrown out of hostels, so footballers don't get that any hate. Yeah, so that's the problem, right? The collaterals are very often, this Hindu Muslim debate. The Kashmiris, yeah, so very bad. We have Kashmiri, yeah, we have multiple Kashmiri players, yeah. Those who has condemned attack, yeah. Oh, Kashmir, you always betray and hate no matter how much love you receive. Man, it's a difficult topic, and I think the question is there a solution to the problem? I think that is what has not happened since independence in 1947. Kiran races Aditya Pati, Danish Farooq, John PSC from Real Kashmir, and got transferred to Kaiwas. Yeah, Danish Farooq, most well known. Of course, we have coaches like Merajuddin Wadu, Ishfaq Ahmed. Yeah, that's the thing. Banjab says qualified teams for AFC Champions League 2 2025-2026. Al Gharafa, Qatar, Antikhon FC from Uzbekistan, Al Khaldia from Bahrain, FC Istiklal from Tajikistan, from teams from Mohammedan. Yeah, Banjab, this is, yeah, that's the just the starting, and we're not even talking about the clubs from Saudi, from UAE to add to it. Jadugar is a decent Hindi movie, and Shisham Mike Il Fatima is a Malayalam movie which let the Kerala look a bit funny. Okay, Shisham Mike Il Fatima. Sorry, Roshan can't speak Malayalam, so most probably I just butchered that name. So yeah. We wouldn't get frustrated with so many ads and stoppages, by the way, after each over. It's so irritating. I have a patience problem. Yeah, Simon. Again, it's those who like the sport. It's up to you. I always say it's every individual needs to decide which sport they like. There is a solution and you won't like it, says okay. Wow, Sway Riang in the AFC Challenge League final and City in Asia 2 finals. ASEAN teams getting stronger and stronger. Simon, it is, in my opinion, a positive sign that these teams or these kind of teams are made it to these finals. Of course, Lion City, of course, also is a little lucky with the whole Hiroshima thing of fielding a banned player, a suspended player. But yeah, we could, yeah, it's like many other things, opportunities lost for Indian football. I think that's something. India, there are no solution to problems, just jugards. I think, Aditya, that's the whole problem. And that's the problem with jugaad, that with jugaad, also in Indian football, we think that we can, fast track development and not do the work. Grassroots, youth football. Without that, we're not going to be successful. And that's the problem at the end of the day, right? So therefore, yeah, that's the difficulty. What I hate more about IPL is Aja Mere Circle Me Aja. Okay, I don't know what that means. Simon says spot on, and then Aditya says not even football promotes gambling like these people do. Okay. Methamphetamine says it's weird, but Brazilian coaches seem to have gone out of picture these days. I really wish that at one point Zico could have become India head coach. Okay. Yeah. Okay. At the start of the ISL, not only coaches, we had a lot of Brazilian players also, right? Also, the number of Brazilian players is actually, I feel, I don't know, maybe others feel otherwise, much less Brazilians in the system than we've had in the past. So therefore, yeah, that is something which we need to keep in mind. In Indore, have Holkar Stadium cricket specific, will not have athletic football stadium as average capacity 68,000 stadium in Malwa. Wow, that's big. Okay. One thing I'm very sorry to say, is not a very good team. Akadak will beat them. Surely Lions were lucky and they played around 7 to 8 foreigners. Yeah, but anyway, again, it doesn't matter how many foreigners they played, they got to that stage, right? That's my simple point, right? That's the rule. You can play 11 foreigners in the Champions League. X number of them in the ACL 2, Challenge League up to 6. That's the decision on you. FK Andijan from Uzbekistan would be an interesting team to see if they won the National Cup final against Nasaf and filled the stands in Uzbek League second after Navpohor. Let's see. And that's the thing, right? They've got quality up there. A firm in Gujarat planning to start a proper football club focusing on I-League things. Good. Should be there. Aditya says, Aranda, Aja Mere Circle Me Aja is slogan of My 11 Circle app where you basically pay 49 and make your 49 rupees and make your fantasy team. Okay, so that's that. So it's a different version of Dream 11, I guess, right? So yeah, so that is that. Jashan Ka Tashan is ad slogan of Bimal or another tobacco promoting company. Okay, but isn't tobacco promotion banned? Do you think Mohan Bagan should do the same, but ultimately it brings no good for youth? If you want to be successful in Asia, you have to do it. Forget the youth, Angry Birds. Even established Indian players will not be able to compete at that level. I mean, that's the reality of where we are at this moment. So therefore, Champions League football is. If you see also these other countries nowadays, it's not about your local players. It's about being successful at that level. And you've seen that if you look at the AFC has, been running with the 4+1 rule for how many years, I don't know. And I thought it was a good thing because it showcases your local talent. And now that local talent is out of the window, right? Vimal, not Bimal in India, banning is scam. Okay, so now let's hope Mohammed Subhajan gives better performance on AFC. Otherwise, our number of spots will be over in coming years. Yeah, upcoming years. I think next season, whoever is playing, Mohan Bagan plus Super Cup winner, needs some results. Otherwise, could be in trouble. Is there any chance for women's team in Asian qualifiers? Methamphetamine, looking at things at this moment in time, looking at how we are playing, looking at what Thailand has done in regard to integrating players of origin. Difficult. Honestly, difficult. I would like to, but difficult. Sergi, if India by chance win FIFA World Cup after 150, 200, 250 years since 1930, I can't swallow that late win. Maybe I feel ashamed. Late entry in picture and win FIFA World Cup. Hypermaster, forget talking about winning a World Cup. Let's get to a World Cup first. I'm So therefore, yeah, I know. I guess you're most probably younger, and your wishes are there. The younger me also, when I was in early 20s, I thought, hey, India can do it. I will see India in a few years in the World Cup. Nowadays, I just say, before I just one day before I die, I want to see India play the World Cup. So let's see how old I become. Maybe I get the opportunity to see India in a World Cup. I would love to do that. And yeah, let's wait and see. Accept the reality, they will get knocked out. First round ACL is too tough for an Indian club. Yeah, sadly, yeah. At this moment, yeah. Let's laugh, guys. So you actually think once you're banned, you cannot function in India? It's India. No. Who cares about banning? Yeah. It's a recommendation, right? I mean, if it's like with the betting thing, it's a recommendation that betting is actually illegal. So yeah, that's where we stuck. AFC leagues are now ruled by foreigners except J League. Anil was very right. It is, yeah, it's a fact. To some extent, maybe the K League in South Korea, but otherwise, all the leagues are, yeah, mainly controlled by foreigners. The way our women team equality has degraded over the last few years is painful to watch. Yeah. And just think about it. 3 years ago, I would have said in January 2022, without COVID hitting our team, I would have said, we could actually get into the World Cup in 2022. The only team is which got COVID as a team, not individuals, was India. And since then, it's been downhill, yeah, as you say. And the IWL has made the same mistakes as the men's, right? Your key positions are with foreigners, even if you only have 2 or 3. That your strikers are now Africans, big bullied women, So the things that happened in the 80s and 90s in the men's game are now happening in the women's game. Hopefully, we'll play a seniors men's World Cup, even if it means hosting it to do so. Yeah, methamphetamine, that most probably is the only option. You're very, very right. Hosting is the only option. Is gambling allowed in Germany? Fantasy sports allowed? Of course, yeah. Gambling is allowed. Fantasy sports is allowed. See, I personally think that the government of India is doing a mistake, because if you legalize gambling, let's say you legalize gambling, you would bring in a lot of money, which is now in dark channels. And that money, those taxes which you earn, you could put back into sports. That's what, for example, you do in Europe. In Germany, for example, you do that. UK, I know they do it as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Ban foreigners in IWL. Zahavar maybe, yeah, might be the best option, right? To allow our talent to grow. How is Northeast United? Can they win the Super Cup? Rebelson, looking at the 8 teams left in the Super Cup, I would say, I would have said, you know what, any team can win it, right? So any one of the 8 teams, if I look at it, is capable of winning, and therefore to me, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because for me, if you ask me, Kerala Blasters against Mohun Bagan, that already interesting one, because Mohun Bagan is playing mainly their B team, so to say. Kerala Blasters look good against East Bengal, but were wasteful with their chances. Goa and Punjab, both of them look good in their game, right? Inter Kashi impressed me against BFC, but Mumbai City even more against Chennai, to be honest, despite only 2 foreigners and a jumbled sort of whatever was available team. Northeast were just too good for Mohammedan Sporting, so yes, and Jamshedpur overcome. So all these 8 teams, even at Interkashi, have a chance to win the Super Cup. If you ask me, I don't have a clear-cut favorite at this moment, right? If you ask me. Right? COVID hit us, but Kalyan Chauba hit us more. Yeah, I know that you say this as a joke, but yeah, there's some truth in this. And India should open my circle in Germany. Can't wait to see Aaj Mera Circle mein Aaja on German TV. However, I don't think they have an opportunity to do it against others. Choose Indian squad, please. Ask Emmanuel. Why would I choose an Indian squad, Emmanuel? What Indian squad? Good night, family. Good night, sir. Traveling right now. I have to live the life early today. Okay, Genra. Thanks for joining in as always, and I hope to really catch you soon here. Happy Master says, "Yep, I'm young because I see we miss Jules in a trophy era, and we not that trophy. This hurt me, but hurt because we historical nation. We missed his 19th gold words and books. Yeah, Hypermass. That's sad. That's the important part. Our decline started after 22 Asian Cup, but what do you think was the right before after theme? Sorry, Opala. What do you think was the players, the coach? I think the coach, Thomas Dennerby, was a good coach. I think he got a lot out of the team. I mean, watch the loss against Brazil. Of course, we lost 1-6 against Brazil, but I was impressed by an Indian women's team playing like that. Manisha Kalyan got her move abroad because of that goal. We had better players, Baladevi as a striker, Aditi in goal, Dalima, all these girls. Mashallah, they're still there, but I see a generational shift, and that's a problem, I think, for Indian women's football. So I see war between cricket football and Bharat. Hypermaster, no chance. Cricket is so big, we are nowhere near. And also, there needs to be no war. India should become a multi-sports country. Forget this cricket versus, right? Cricket versus another sport. No, let cricket coexist, let football coexist. That is the best thing that could happen. East Bengal will have not having to tackle IFF and Kalinga Cup simultaneously last season was also helping them this IFF campaign. Yes, Roshan on one side, but on the other side also East Bengal this season, if you look at the squad, is a much, much stronger squad than they were last year, right? Honest answer, does Indian football has any hope for future or it's utter abyss? Oh, Zorawar, a philosophical question towards the end. Okay, the sarcastic me would say it could have a future, but that future would have to be linked to me, right? That would be the sarcastic me of saying that. And in general, it depends on the leadership. At the moment, the leadership, as you know, is a problem. And as long as the leadership is not changed and the right people are brought up front, that's the key. Right leadership at the top, a lot of things can happen. Sergey, I see a war between cricket football and we have a chance to play for, but we refused and cricket win 1983 World Cup after the cricket win India and become kings. But yeah, but again, I don't see a war. Let the two sports coexist. If football gets to a World Cup, yes, football will explode. 100%. I agree with you on that point. But India doesn't need to be one sport country. Again, hockey, very, very successful. Right? Hockey is the national sport and all that stuff. Look at where hockey is. Right? That all are problems. All the problems that football faces today, all the problems that football has faced in the past. Football still is the second biggest sport in India. Period. By a mile. There is no other sport which comes close to football. You talk about Dennerby, I think you might remember Nikolai Adam. Could he have changed a lot for India under 17? Methamphetamine, of course I remember Nico. I was one of the reasons why Nico came because I worked with the DFB to help the AIFF, and did he change? Yes. I saw that team here in Germany as under 15, 16, 17. Impressed me to say the least. And I think you say also the circumstances surrounding the party situation, they were suspicious. They're not suspicious. It was not were. They were. They are suspicious. Not suspicious. I know a few facts about why he left. And to me, the problem was that Nico left in Jan. I remember the day that he was fired, I was actually in Delhi. I left the next morning, so I could have gotten involved in it. Maybe we could have helped to solve it. But anyway, I wasn't approached on that matter. I got to know later about it. And I think he would have done a better job. I think Nicola Adam could have given us a win in the Under-17 World Cup with that squad. But hey. Well, according to our sportsmen, India will be top 40 by next 10 years. Top 50, rather. But again, the Prime Minister has also said that the women's team is doing very well and also the men are doing okay. So then we know. Yeah. Hi, Vikram. I am fine. Hope you're doing good as well. Why Indian player play different in ISL and international? I know about this level of competition, but they look completely clueless international. Vikram, two or three reasons. One reason, of course, is that the foreigners are not there with them. So that to me is already one key reason why our Indian footballers are not as good in international football as they are in the ISL. And secondly, I've said it a few times in my short videos as well. I feel that there are problems in the team which need to be addressed, which are not being addressed. So therefore, yeah, those are the problems. Can Aladdin Ajay be the top scorer for Super Cup? Yes, why not? That is surely an option. That he can be top scorer. Let's see who turns to be top scorer in the tournament, right? Wish you could bring someone of his caliber to Indian junior squads. Methamphetamine, at the moment, there is no cooperation of any kind between the AIFF and the German FA. But yeah, let's see. At the moment, the youth system is not in the structure as it was at the time. In 2015, the AIFF did whatever it could to build a team to play the Under-17 World Cup. That effort is not there. Right? So those are realities. Hey, Pujan, welcome back. I'm doing good. Do you think we need a new structure in the top tier league, or should the new league follow the same ISL structure? I think ideally the ISL would continue. That would be the ISL. But if the ISL is discontinued, I think the structure will collapse. I don't know what league we will have next season, if we have a league next season. The AIFF, without the support of Reliance financially and generally, will not be able to run, period. That's the reality. Today, again, nice discussion with you. Thank you, Appamaster 823. Good to see you. Is the news of Vishnu joining Mohun Bagan true? P. Vishnu, of course. So, Rava, he's been offered on the market. Right? I think he's been offered to Mumbai, to BFC, to others as well. He has a contract still, so let's see what happens. I'm not sure if the player will move or not. So again, it's speculation from what I hear. Right, 1 hour 39 minutes plus. If you haven't, maybe even watching it later on, you like the conversation, do leave a like behind. 20 so far today. Thanks a lot. Share with other people to watch. I think we are having some very, very interesting, insightful discussions over the last few days. And subscribe to the channel as well. Watch the shorter videos, especially those, I've got some interesting ones which I really do with a lot of love and intensity, but it seems like, the crazy ones are the ones that people seem to be liking more. And and I take it. What do you make of the current previous AIFF regime? Of course, there were a lot of problems surrounding corruption with them, but they did make some efficient decisions. Correct me if I'm wrong. Methamphetamine, there are some problems. Yes, you're right. But they kept the system running and actually developed certain things. So therefore, I give them that credit. Whatever there was, there were some issues, but I would say they kept the system running, and that's the most important thing. Therefore, they were better. Look at what's happened in the last 2 years. It's just shambles. We are nowhere near where we were, and that's creating a problem. So good night, Zoravar. Good night, Methamphetamine. Good night, everybody else who is watching. And guys, I'll catch you tomorrow, most probably a little earlier than usual. And yeah, we catch up tomorrow a little earlier, as I say, than usual. Got an evening handball game to go to. So see you then. Catch you. Good night, everyone.